These are TurboGrafx 16 games. These are PC Engine games, what the TurboGrafx was known as in Japan. Unfortunately, a ton of these never made it overseas to become these. So we're going to spend a few of these to take a closer look at one of these. Almost everyone has heard of Ninjagaiden. It is a series that exploded in popularity on an 8-bit Nintendo system when Tecmo created a platforming version of their arcade game in the late 80s. It was so popular that a couple sequels were spawned, as well as a recent successful resurrection on the next generation consoles. What most people don't know is that a few years later, a version of the very first Nintendo game was translated for the PC Engine. The port is essentially the same, but with upgraded graphics and a few tweaks here and there. Let's plug the PC Engine converter into our American Turbo Duo system and check it out. The story follows a ninja named Ryu Hayabusa, who seeks revenge in America for the death of his father. As the story unfolds, he finds himself involved in a strange plot threatening the entire world. Man, he is one unlucky guy. The player controls Ryu through 6 stages known as acts. Each act has numerous obstacles, precise jumping, and tons of enemies to defeat. The game requires some memorization and extremely fast reflexes to improve your skills enough in order to progress. As with all platforming games, an energy bar dictates how long you have before losing a life. Although, truthfully, in this game, you'll probably die from getting knocked backwards or mistiming a jump more often than simple energy bar reduction. Your character uses his dragon sword to attack, but can also use other secondary weapons that rely on spiritual strength, including various shurikens, fire wheels, and more. You can collect ammunition for these attacks throughout the game, hidden in candles and other miscellaneous breakable items. Of course, other things can be found as well, such as time-freezing abilities, or energy replenishment bottles, which are always welcome. One of the things that made Ninjagaiden unique was the usage of cutscenes before and after you play each act. The original Nintendo game sort of started this whole trend, and this version has pretty much carbon copies of the original sequences, with slightly upgraded graphics. Even the short intermissions between acts are still intact. Obviously, they're all in Japanese, but with the help of a little hidden code, an English translation is also included. Funny enough, the text is not the same as the original American Nintendo version. Anyway, when the game is over, you have the chance to continue. If you're not fighting an end boss, you essentially start a little ways back, but it's not too terrible. The upgraded graphics are very, very colorful, and is a definite improvement over its original Nintendo counterpart. Some stages are really impressive. They added some multi-scrolling backgrounds as well, and although it adds a little dimension, it's more of a shutter than a scroll. So it's a bit distracting in some stages where it's extremely prominent, but kind of cool in others where it is not. It's kind of hard to explain, but the game overall does look really great. The controls are almost spot on, which is a good thing because the appeal of Ninjagaiden has always been its tight controls and addictive feel. One thing I noticed in this version, however, is that doing a quick crouching attack from the opposite direction seems to be slightly delayed compared to the Nintendo version. This takes some time to get used to, but you'll get the hang of it soon enough. Sticking to walls, bouncing off of walls, the game even today is still addictively fun. Interestingly enough, they did change some of the sound. Some of the music is pretty good, but in some respects, the Nintendo version actually had a better soundtrack. Even when the end bosses explode, it's a bit disappointing compared to the original game. The audio just could have been a tad better. The game does have the same quirks as the original Nintendo version. A funky jump can lead to death with no way of controlling it, Enemies respawn over and over and over and over, depending on where you stand on the screen. And yes, the birds and bats are still a pain in the ass. Ugh, man, sometimes Ryu just gets knocked around a lot. Ninja Gaiden is still a challenging game, especially tackling the final 3 bosses that toss you all the way back to the beginning of the act if you die. They might take a few tries. But as you play through, your cockiness level will increase, and you'll find yourself flying through the levels like some kind of master ninja. It's a really great game and definitely awesome for anyone who's a fan of the series or platforming games in general. Why Ninja Gaiden and some of the great PC Engine games never made it to the United States is just another glaring reason why the TurboGrafx didn't cut it in America like it did in Japan. I mean, the game even has an English translation built into it, for God's sakes. There is just no excuse. Some of the changes made to this upgrade are excellent, some are a little disappointing, but in the end, everything balances itself out really well. If you have a chance to check out this updated version of a classic game, I'd say go for it. And I give Ryu 4 PC Engines out of 5.